this is a disclaimer, okay? The video you're about to see is a touchy subject. So with that being said, we wanted to make sure you understand that what you're about to hear is not a medical advice. Any information that you obtain from this video, you should always consult with a physician, alright? Anytime you're going to do anything in your life involving your health or your body, you should always consult with a doctor before you do any changes in your life, because everyone reacts differently. So what you hear may not apply to you. The video is not to inspire anyone to do anything. It's just to give you a different perspective on certain scenarios or certain situations. That's it. If you feel inspired in any way, you should consult with a doctor before you act on any type of inspiration. Always speak to a doctor before you do anything in your life in regards to your health. Okay, that is most importantly. No matter where you hear it from, sit down with a doctor. Even if there was a professional doctor that you see on YouTube speaking on certain subjects, that may not apply to you. Only your doctor will know that. Based on your history, they may have to do some blood work to see, what's going on in your body. So even if a professional were to give you advice online, never act on it until you speak to your doctor, your personal doctor, the doctor that knows your history, or a doctor that can follow up and do certain tests to tell you if what you heard applies to you, because it may not apply to you. So again, at the end, what you're about to hear is not medical advice. It's just a different perspective. That's it. Always speak to a doctor before you do anything in regards to your health, no matter who it comes from, because you are different. You are unique. So not everything will apply to you. On to the video. Hey everybody! Okay, this is a message that something happened, something someone said out there, and it's personal, so we're not going to give any clips, we're not going to say who it is, or any of that, okay? This is just an alternative way of thinking of certain events, right? Everyone's going to have their own views on how they see things and all that. So we just wanted to give the person another view. Now, our view may not be right, we just want to give them a different view, so they can, now compare. This goes to depression. And a lot of people out there seem to think that everyone suffers the same. And that is not the case. Everyone suffers differently, even if they're in the same exact situation. Because everyone's body reacts differently. And that is what a lot of people are missing, is the body reaction to depression differs in everyone. So I want the person to think of it as this way, as, let's say you have two same individuals and you have a machine that's collaborated to give the same exact slap. And so now you have the two individuals, right? And one machine slaps them and the other machine slaps the other person. Same exertion, same slap. But see, the one person is going to say, it hurt a little bit. And the other person is going to say, damn, that hurt a lot. Now, what happened there is that in the person that it didn't hurt a lot, the body did not produce or did not give enough signal to the brain to say that it was damaging. It was very painful. The other body now, their pain sensory is hyperactive. So if you get any type of hit, that part of the brain is going to light up and you're going to feel it because the body is taking it as something major. So you have one body that's saying, it hurts. The other body is screaming. But you cannot control that. That is how your body reacts to it. Okay, we're going to give you a little insight on how pain works in your body, okay? And this picture is, it shows a little bit. But we want to show you how your body works when it comes to pain. So, this is very simple. This is not concrete. This is the baby terms of trying to put it out there, of trying to explain this, okay? So you have your facilitation side, and then you have your inhibition side, right? The words are different, but we picked this picture because it's simple. Now, we just want you to keep this in mind, right? Inhibition is part of the facilitation process of your brain. So we're going to keep it simple. So as the picture is shown there, we're going to tweak it a little bit so we can have everyone stay on the same page, right? So now we're going to replace facilitation and we're going to replace it with pain indicator. So that will say that that part of the facilitation, the pain indicator, is the part that's going to tell you there is pain, and the inhibition side is the part where your body facilitates and says, okay, there is no more pain. So both sides are being activated, and it's part of the facilitation process. I hope you're there, right? Okay, we got it? Got it. So again, facilitation is everything, how your body processes everything, pain and taking it away. The inhibition part is the part that your body will facilitate to activate to take away the pain. This is how we wanted to communicate it to you, so it doesn't involve a lot of big words and everyone could be on the same page. Again, the verbiage is way different and the mechanics is way different, but this is a nice simple way of trying to get everyone to understand how the mechanics work in a simple format. I hope you understand now, right? So you have your pain indicator side, and then you have your inhibition side. So let's say you get a damage. Let's say you get hit. Depending on the radius of the damage will decide how your body will facilitate the signal, the pain, to give you the warning saying, listen, something's happening. That's what pain is. It's a warning system for you to react. Now, I know I'm going to deviate a little bit here. So I want you to think about that. About consciousness and about self-consciousness, right? And now you have to look at it as, why is your body warning you? And then you have to think, then who are you? And that's where the soul comes in. That's when religion comes in, right? Anyway, I'm not going to get too deep into this. So anyway, so you have your pain indicator side, and you have inhibitions. So if the area of the damage is large or deep, the pain increases because it's telling you, hey, what the fuck? Something's going on. And you need to react. You need to stop it. You have to stop what's going on to reverse it. So when the damage starts to subside, when the damage is no longer increasing, that's where your inhibition comes in. So when your hormones went up, your inhibition hormones bring it back down. It's like it closes the faucet. So it's not that much pain as it was before because now you're getting better. So it's telling you, okay, alright, you're doing something right, and that's how it regulates the pain. Now, in some people, the inhibition doesn't kick in correctly. So the pain stays there longer than it should. You see, this is where we tell you cannot control that. So while your pain indicator side is saying pain, and now the pain is, the damage is going down, it's still screaming pain, and it takes your inhibition is taking too long to withdraw the pain. That's when you start to take medications. Now, if you look at the inhibition, this is an interesting part in regards to why people go through withdrawals. Okay, this is very interesting. This is a good thing for you to learn about, right? So since you have one side giving you the pain, and then the other side to take away the pain. So then if your inhibition is not kicking in and it's still extremely painful, you start to take in medication, right? To activate that inhibition. It activates dopamine and all that just to numb the pain. So that's when you start to take medication. But what happens is when people take opiates, right? Opiates makes your inhibition and kicks it in overdrive. So now you feel nothing. You are down to bare minimum. You are down. It shuts down pain indicator side. So now that part is gone. And the other part saying there's no pain when there is. So now what happens when the pain indicator side shuts off? Because you have your inhibition so hyperactive that when you turn off the inhibition, the opiate, you take away the drugs, guess what kicks in? The pain. So now the pain has to readjust itself. So it's like you're starting over and you're going to feel everything. Everything is going to hurt you. Everything is going to bother you because your body now has to find the balance again. So before it finds the correct balance and pain receiving, you're going to feel everything. Someone could touch your skin. That part of your brain is going to go, oh my God, it's like you're being stabbed to death. Because that was shut off for so long that now that you turned it back on, you're going to feel everything. It's like new to you. You know how it's babies, you can just pinch them and they cry because your body is learning, what's really dangerous and not. So it's like relearning everything. So you're going to feel everything. It is a painful situation because you turned off inhibition and inadvertently you turned on the pain receptors and they're going to kick in. They're going to kick in hard. So that's why people go through withdrawals when they come off of opiates and all that. That's why they tell people do not take too much opiate because you don't want to mess with that balance. Because what happens there is when you start to come off the opiate, you're going to feel more pain because now it's like a scale. So now the pain is going to go up higher. And then what do people do? Oh, I got to take more opiates. I don't want to feel the pain. So they take more and it goes down. But little do they know that they are creating the worst pain storm ever by doing that. So instead of just weathering the pain, because eventually your body will equal out. It will say, okay, all right, nothing's happening, all right, and it'll even out. But instead of people weathering that storm, they just want to double down. And guess what? From a regular thunderstorm, it turns into a tropical storm, it turns into a hurricane, it turns into a big fucking the tornado, it turns into everything because you did that to yourself. So be careful with opiates. You're fucking with your pain receptors, and at the end, when you come off, you in for a ride. You are going to be in for a ride. And some people need to be medically placed in a coma because of the amount of pain. right? And there's a new treatment. That's what they do. They put you in a coma, just let you ride it. You know, you ain't gonna feel anything because you're knocked out, but your body is going through some shit. It's going through some shit that you would not be able to handle if you were conscious. So that's a good thing you should know about, right? So that's pain. Now bringing it back, everyone's body is different. So if your body facilitation balanced correctly, you're gonna recover faster. But if the other person is not there, they're not. And this is another thing you need to know is that pain is actually your body learns how to really gauge if something is really dangerous or not. But it must go through it, and then you'll learn and go, oh, okay, that's not that bad. So the next time you get hit or whatever, then your body knows, okay, it's not that dangerous. You're gonna feel it, but it's a learning curve. So some people, when they get slapped, if they never really been in pain, that slap to them is like if you hit them with a paddle, because the body is gonna make it feel that way, and they cannot control it. So for some of you go, oh, why you being a punk? Why that don't hurt? Well, it's because you've been punched and slapped more than the other person. That's the only difference that's happening. That's it. But they are feeling pain. They are feeling, their body is telling them it's painful. Again, the body and your consciousness, two separate things, and that's what you have to really take into when you hear this video in the next subject. Okay? So if you look at it like that, then you should be able to understand how someone that is in a similar situation that you're in can be worse than how you took it. Let's get down to depression, right? Serotonin levels, blah, 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 right? We're not going to get into technical words. We're trying to keep it as simple as possible. So we're going to say this. So you have one person that's depressed, right? And the other person just as depressed. Both lost their pet, right? And that they loved dearly. They were in love. And they both lost their pet. Same amount of love, same everything. Now, one person is grieving. They're crying and hurting, but the other person is hysterical and doesn't know how to deal with the emotions. They just want to die. Now, how can that happen? Well, that goes back to what we said before as the body's reaction. So you have one body that their hormone level is fluctuated just a little bit, right? So we're going to take it as this person, the body, when it reacts to depression, the faucet is on low, dripping. So they're depressed. This is just dripping. And then the other person, the body, when the faucet gets turned on, is turned on full blast. So imagine that amount of emotion, of depression, just hitting you all at once so much. You just want to die because there's so much. It's so overwhelming. It's so fucking, it's like suffocating you because it's so much. Think of it. Put your face underneath a faucet and let it just drip. You'll be like, you'll be turning away, like, you know. Now, turn the faucet all the way on. You will be gasping for air. And think about this, you cannot turn off the faucet. It's beyond your control. It's your body. So the faucet is going, and you're suffocating, and you at that point, you don't want to suffer anymore. You do not want to suffer. You want it to end. So that is what happens with some people when they go through depression. Their body reacts differently. Their faucet level is different. So two people going through the same exact event, can react to it so different. Now, when you get to the point where you want to die, that type of hormonal shift is debilitating. So for someone else to come and say, don't worry, weather it out, just think about them there with a towel over their face and water just gushing all over their face. And they're drowning. You hear the gasping and pleading for help, but there is no help at that point. And you cannot stop it. What would you say to a person that is drowning? You cannot stop it. I don't care how much you love them. I don't care if you're there holding them, but you're not there 24/7. You're not standing by them. And most importantly, you are not feeling the drowning that they are experiencing. And they went through the same thing. But again, it's your body. Think of it in another example. Two people, you went to take blood. One, a little dot, they put a little band-aid. Another one bleeds to death. Why? Because that body was not able to clot it. So they bled to death, which can happen. So certain people need to be very careful not to get cut. Two people, one needle, one could die, and the other one just walks away. So when you look at life like that, then you can understand how some people in the same situation may be suffering more than you, and it's beyond their control. That is where the key is. They cannot control their hormonal balance. They just can't control that. There's medications that will help, but it's not a cure. It's to help. But if you are so overwhelmed, even the medications that are out there on some people, it still won't do anything. It still won't do that. Okay, the water turned down a little bit, but that suffering, that suffocation is still there. It's not as bad, but think about it, day in and day out. The moment you open your eyes, you're suffocating. You're suffocating. I mean, what do you do with that? So you have to understand how some people can do something very dramatic, right? And it's sad. So for a lot of you out there keep saying, oh, that's punk. That has nothing to do with one's ability to want to stop the suffering and something that's out of their control. You just can't control it, right? You just can't. Your body is your body. That's separate from your consciousness. It's just separate. It's not possible to control that. So when the person gets the needle, I'm sure they're thinking, I don't want to bleed to death. So can they control that? No. They have to take medication, but they still need to be careful on the level of cuts they get because they can still bleed out. Because remember this, your body has a certain balance. And if you take too much of something, alright? If you take too much of something, then you're still hurting yourself, right? So it's like you have to decide the lesser of two evils. But you're still suffering. And some people do not want to keep suffering because other people want to see them suffering. Nobody is in their position. You have to sit there, understand, comfort them. But understand, you don't have to agree, but you just should understand, hey, what can we do? Let's, but this is the key. No matter how many times you go and hug a person, or how many times you go out with the person, or how many times you come over and hug, there's going to be hours and moments that they are alone, submerged in their thought, and their body bombards them with water, and they start to suffocate again. So unless you're going to be with that person 24/7, just think about it. The body is the body. You can't stop that. So for someone to sit there and go, listen, I did it. Well, yeah, your body recovers well. Their body cannot recover well. So the key takeaway here is this. Everyone's body reacts differently. The consciousness, both can be brave. Both can be like, fuck it. But one body gonna say, no, fuck you. This is what's going to happen now. And the other body be like, okay, I'm with you. Two different reactions. And they cannot control it. Again, you cannot control it. But anyway, to the person, everyone reacts differently. And in your case, you were blessed with a body that's able to handle external stimuli. Unfortunately, not everyone has that, alright? Some people just do not have that, and they cannot control it. So when you see a person suffering, do not compare them to you if they're going through the same event. You cannot do that. You should not do that, because their body is different than your body. That's it. It's really that simple. Their body is different than your body. Forget about the conscious level. Forget about telling someone, man up, and all that. All that does is when you hype someone up, you get that adrenaline rush. So you start to feel a little better, right? The forcing is still on. The only difference is that the other hormone was counteracting the other one, so it was balancing it out a little bit. But they cannot be in an adrenaline rush forever, right? So it's gonna fall, and they're gonna fall hard. And that's where dependency comes in, right? Because now they were so depressed, but now that they had you there, and it eased the suffocation, they're gonna want you there because they don't want that suffocation no more. They don't want to go through that anymore. So when you walk away, guess what happens? They start to suffocate again. It's a hard and sad situation. But at the end, do not look at it as they did anything wrong. They didn't. The body failed them. But consciously, they wanted to stay. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to move on. But there's certain situations where you are suffocating so bad that you want that to stop. You need to stop. And depression can be worse than someone just stabbing you. It really is that it can be that bad. Depression is almost like being stabbed repeatedly over and over again. You keep stopping. You want to stop. You're trying to dig. You're trying to move away, whatever, and you keep getting stabbed. You keep getting stabbed and stab, and your body keeps reacting. Even when you take away the thing that caused the stabbing, the body's still reacting. And it takes a long time. And to some people, it never goes away. Cause just the thought of what stabbed them makes their body react as if they're being stabbed all over again. So they relive the same experience over again. So consciously, they wanted to be there. Consciously, they loved everyone. But subconsciously, their body had a different plan. You just can't, you can have it's just like saying you have a beautiful car, but your heart is failing. You can't stop. How can you fix the heart if it's failing? You need to get a new heart. But when it comes to depression, to stop that, you would need a new brain. Not possible. It's not possible. So just look at it that way. This goes for all of you. Do not compare yourself to other people. Everyone suffers differently. Everyone has a different body makeup. And you just cannot just arbitrarily say, well, take it, like a man. When you do that, guess what happens? When you go be a man about it, what happens there is they start to hide their depression. They start to hide their pain. So now you really don't know what's going on in their life because now they're hiding it. They don't want you to see it because you were like, be a man. So they don't want to be embarrassed, or they don't want to appear to be weak. So now when you see them, they're gonna put up a facade of, yeah, everything is fine, but they're drowning inside. And you don't want them to hide the pain. You want to be there, and you want them to come to you when they're in pain. So if they're drowning and they're in pain, do you think they're going to go to you if you're telling them man up? They're not. So now they're alone. So those are certain things you just don't do, okay? You try to be supportive and do not compare yourself. You just can't. But never put them in a position where they cannot come to you because you are shaming them into it. Never do that. Please, people, don't do that. When someone's depressed or someone's crying and someone's hurting, you want them to come to you. So do not push them away by saying, stop crying, don't do that, why are you looking weak? When you do that, what you're saying is the next time you feel the way you feel, I can't come to you because you're gonna tell me that I'm not being strong enough. But they are being strong because they are sharing their inner emotions, their inner core, their soul to you, and it's hard to do. So anyway, don't do it. Do not tell someone to man up or anything like that. You know, try to stay away from that. Just don't do it. Always tell the person, hey, I'm here. Let's talk. What's going on? And try to understand and be there for them. But never put a negative to it. You're just going to push them away. And you do not want them alone, in pain, thinking they cannot go to you. Do not do that, people. Just don't. That's it. It's the simplest way you could put it. So at the end, and the main key takeaway is, everyone's body reacts differently. That's it. Everyone's body reacts differently. Some of you walk out with pollen. Some of you have a little sniffle. Some of you are suffering, sneezing after sneezing. You have to get shots and your nose is running and you're miserable and you have your sinus. You see? Difference, right? You cannot walk up to the other person and say, well, I have allergies too. Why are you like that? Why are you upset? Why are you sneezing 1,000 times? Why are you fucking got a headache? I don't have that. I don't have that. You see how that sounds? But they're going through it. You cannot stop it. See, but we are all accustomed to wanting to see visual cues. But there's some people that are suffering, but it's inside them. They're trying to not hurt the people that they're around. So they'll hold it in, but they're suffocating. They're suffocating. But they don't want to hurt you. They love you enough to try to hold in that pain, but they're suffering. So, visual cues are not always there. Like the needle, like the stabbing, like the allergies, right? That you can see, oh my God, you're suffering. Oh my God. Depression is not like that. But you need to treat it just like that. Someone's depressed, same situation, different reaction. Just like allergies. That's it, people. That's our take on it. I hope this helps the person to see things differently. When it comes to depression, there's no concrete answer. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what the person is thinking. You don't know what the person is really, really going through. Because there's certain things people will withhold from other people because they feel it will hurt them or it will make them feel uncomfortable. So they hold back things, alright? So that's where we're saying visual cues are not always there. So remember that to the person. It's not that they didn't want to be there. It's just that they couldn't. The body said otherwise. They just could not. So just remember that. Things are out of people's control. You were blessed with a body that did not have to go through what the other person's body went through. Doesn't mean you didn't go through anything. It's just as bad. But your body at least recovered better than the other person. The other person, it got too bad. They were bleeding out. The bleeding did not stop. They kept trying to stop the bleeding, but the bleeding kept going until that's it. Once you lose a certain amount of blood, oxygen, you start to think differently and you start to do things differently. And that is out of their control. Take care, everyone.